Hello everyone, this is Chico from Lunar Syndicate, and today I want to share my top 3 tips when it comes to Elliott wave counting. My first tip is using the line chart when counting your waves. So what the line chart does is it eliminates wicks that can often skew price structure. And these wicks can mislead someone's count and give them a less probable play. So when switching to the line chart, we can make out the structure more clearly. So this is what the line chart looks like, and right off the bat, I can easily identify this structure to be a 5-wave structure, and so forth. So I can make this structure as a 5-wave structure, and make this as a 5-wave structure, and also make this low as another 5-wave structure. And if I were to piece it all together, it would just make one big 5-wave structure, and yeah, and so forth. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 3, and then 4 into a potential 5th. Whereas if I had tried to count this on the candlestick, it looks very discombobulated, and if I were to try to count this, it would be very awkward, where I would have to force many unusual structures, such as, okay, this could be a 1, 2, 3, okay, there's no 5th, so it's going to be another 3-wave structure, another 3-wave structure, another 3-wave structure, and this would be like an expanded diagonal, which is typically not what you'd want to see in a count of this caliber. So that's how a line chart can help you with a count like this. As well, another example is these lows, these liquidation lows, where we see a very long wick. So if I was someone trying to play this structure, I would see this as a 5-wave structure in the making, where this low would be the 3rd wave, this pullback is a 4th, and I would be expecting to play a 5th. And had I gone to try to play this, you can see that we didn't get that 5th, and if I had tried to short this, I would have been stopped out. And this is where using a line chart is powerful, because if you were on the line chart, you can see that the 5th was actually in on this low, where you would have thought it would come out to take out the 3rd wave low. And we would call this a truncation, but using these line charts, you can avoid these situations more oftenly. And this leads into my second tip, using what I'd like to call a box method. So what a box method is separating price structure into its own, I guess, category, and trying to connect the pieces together. Okay, so here is a structure where we can try to utilize the box method. So I like to use this box method when counting corrective structures where it's very choppy, and separating recognizable structures can help you fit the puzzle pieces together and determine the structure. So one would go about this by looking at the structure and seeing where it bounces or have shifted. So from this high here, I can see that price came down here and had its bounce. So this is the first box. And then next we have our second box. Okay, let's see where it stops. And I can say it ended right here. And then from here on, we've made a downtrend. So I've made 3 boxes, so this is more likely to be a 3-wave structure. And having these structures separated, I can count the individual boxes and try to make out the structures I know. So this looks like a diagonal structure. And this could be a very sharp 3-wave structure. I'm just gonna match the degree. And then you can see this as a 5-wave, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2 into a 3, 4, and 5. And I can combine the line chart from earlier to get a clear picture. So for now, I'm gonna stick with this. Even though I could probably count this a bit better. This is basically what the gist of the box method is. So the third tip is using RSI divergence. So in Elliott wave, we typically see divergence between the third and fifth structure. And that signifies the end of a fifth wave or an impulsive structure. So how would I utilize this RSI divergence when counting my waves? So one may see the structure and try to count it all together. So what I mean by this is that they see this entire structure moving in the same direction, so they assume that, okay, it's part of the same structure, and may try to force some sort of like expanded diagonal. But looking at the divergence, we want to see a divergence between the third and fifth wave, which would signify the end of the 5-wave structure. And there's no divergence here, so the third and fifth is lower and the RSI is also lower. But I do see that there's an RSI divergence on the low before it. So RSI makes a higher low, while price made a lower low on this sequence here. So what I can make of this is that, okay, this could be my fifth. And with that in mind, I would try to count this structure up until this divergence as a 5-wave. In this case, a diagonal. And what that would make of the next structure is a 3-wave structure. And this is also known as an expanded flat. And from here, I'm just going to let it play on. And if I were to move on to a lower time frame, I can see there's divergence on the end of that C leg, which would match our 5-wave structure for the C leg. And that's where I'd want to enter short and target where the extension of what this first leg would be. And if you play it out, we can see that, yes, it was indeed an expanded flat. Whereas, had we counted this as a 5-wave structure and then saw this 5 waves up, we would assume that, okay, this is like a 1-2 or an AB if we had not recognized this expanded flat structure previously. And that's where RSI divergence can help us identify these structures. So those are my top 3 tips, and I use them almost in every count and combine especially the line chart and divergence with identifying these structures. With that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hoped I provided some insight to your trading.